Hey everyone, this is Rich, Plant-Based Coaches Podcast. Please subscribe to our channel if you can. We greatly appreciate it. I'm here today with Dr. Suzanne Foxx,
Everybody, it's good to see you here.
and we're honored to have our friend Joe Gagnon. He just wrote a book. I have it right here, if everybody can see it, Living Intentionally. And it's a great book. To be honest, I haven't read it completely yet, but I can't wait to finish. It's a great read. Our good friend Robert Cheeke, he actually did an intro, and I'm going to share it with the audience now.
Hello, everyone. It's Robert Cheeke, author of The Plant-Based Athlete and The Impactful Vegan. And today I want to tell you that you have a phenomenal guest who's about to come on the show. I'm talking about my friend and mentor and #1 best-selling author, Joe Gagnon, who wrote Living Intentionally. This is my new favorite book, and I'll tell you why. This is a book that challenged me. This is a book that changed me. This is a book that inspired me, moved me, and motivated me to be at my personal best. Specific things like turning failure into part of the necessary growth process and understanding that it's just a setback. It's not the end of the road. Failure happens to all of us in all walks of life. And every time we hit those hurdles and those bumps in the road, it's not time to turn around and quit. It's a time to see that as a growth opportunity to move forward. And Joe has been there. Joe has been a CEO for 6 different companies. He's an author of multiple books. He's an ultra marathoner and endurance athlete who has run, if I'm not mistaken, 96 ultra marathons, including the 135-mile race in Death Valley, California, in the middle of summer, just a few weeks ago. Joe is an incredible mentor to many people. He's an outstanding writer, and this book is brilliantly written. Furthermore, it's endorsed by 7 New York Times bestselling authors, endorsed by 7 doctors, endorsed by Olympic athletes and Olympic medalists and CEOs and leaders and executives and even world champions in multiple different sports. Joe is the real deal. He's an awesome guy, and I'm so pleased to have written the foreword for this book. I loved it so much. I asked if I could write the foreword. Joe granted me that wish, and now I would like to introduce you to my friend, mentor, leader, and number one best-selling author, Joe Gagnon.
Yeah,
I don't
congratulations.
think you could
Joe.
ask for a
Number
better
one,
intro. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh boy, it's always slightly humbling to hear that, you know?
That's amazing. Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah, before we get into your book, I'm curious how you met Robert. He's a great friend of mine too. I've known him for years.
Yeah, we were both working on a plant-based protein company. I was a board member of the company, and Robert was the both tour manager and influencer to bring this plant-based protein to market. And since I've been plant-based for 20 years, I was very excited to be part of it. And so we sort of just both, he's up in Fort Collins, I'm in Denver. So we hit it off. And actually, interestingly enough, Next Level Burger is in Denver, which Matt DeGruyter started, and we both knew Matt. And so there was like a lot of this synergy. And then I was helping Robert launch his new career around, sort of writing, coaching, and marketing support for new books. And so we have a great collaboration going on.
Yeah, he's one of the
Nice.
best with marketing. I don't know anybody better, actually.
He's great. Love
That's
him.
pretty good. Yeah.
So how did your book come about?
Oh my God, I don't know, 50 years of life experience. So I think that the interesting part, like if I would answer it this way, in my adult life, I had sort of 2 halves. The first half was as a really good white collar worker. I knew how to work. I had a family. I started making a whole bunch of money. I was doing sort of everything the world told you to do. And I had sort of like this moment where either I was, as I put in the book, the ladder was on the wrong wall that I was climbing, or I was suffocating from, the success that everyone told me I wanted to have. And so I sort of didn't know that at the time. It's obvious now. I started sort of the life transformation that I've been on over the past 25 years, the second half of my life. And so, in this, basically what I've done is couldn't run a mile, I couldn't do a push-up, I couldn't write a paragraph, I didn't have a sense of humor. I'd sort of like basically become, sort of a robot. And everyone sort of talks about not being happy. I don't even think it was about being happy. I think it was actually just completely underperforming against my potential. And so little by little, through a bunch of different sort of lucky moments, I started exercising, I started writing. I've now been doing that for the past 25 years. I was adding it up the other day. I've exercised for 9,000 days, over 20,000 hours. I've written for 4,650 days in a row.
Wow.
Wow.
And then I went into the entrepreneurial world. I did become CEO of 6 startups and, raised a whole bunch of money and sort of found this duality can work. You can be an entrepreneur and an athlete. You can still be a father and, a good community member. All the things we tell you can't really do that I was finding were really possible. And then I left the software world to start a plant-based supplement company 2017 to help with sleep, with energy, with focus, with pain management, and so that was really interesting. In that
Oh,
sort of
what was the name of the supplement company? I think Robert might have sent me a sample.
called Performance Tea at the time,
Hmm.
and we're no longer in business because the
Yeah.
pandemic sort of created a bit of issue.
Totally.
I had this sort of principle of like, well, so in the middle of that journey, I stopped drinking alcohol 20 years ago. I stopped eating meats and became plant-based. And I found that the inflammation went down. I was
Oh,
feeling
yeah.
better. By the way, I was pushing myself as hard as anyone ever did. I was working out 20 to 24 hours a week. I was doing Ironman races. I started doing marathons, ultra marathons, adventure races. All of that was possible, with this sort of life journey that I was on. And then I wrote my first book in 2017 called Living the High Performance Life, which is sort of funny because the bridge from just pure high performance to intentional living is an interesting shift. In the beginning, it's like everything we do is so gosh darn performant. First, it was making a lot of money. And then it was like trying to, how fast could I go in a race? And I started realizing that really I had to have a deeper purpose. I was starting to build a strong platform of who I was, but then I had to go a layer deeper or higher, whatever way you want to look at it. And that's what sort of led to living intentionally, which started to be, I had a why that started deepening, which was I was here to help people achieve their potential. This idea of radical possibility. If you lean into life, there is really sort of no, obstacle to whatever you want to do. And I was going to dedicate my rest of my life to helping people on that journey. And then a year and a half ago, I decided I should start writing a book. And then I stopped. And then one of my friends said, you need to write this book. And so then I finished it up and it came out August 4th.
Wow. Congratulations. That's so
Thank you.
awesome.
And-
What a
and-
life, though. Wow.
Yeah, and it's
yeah.
helped me already. It's just the parts I've read. One area I wanted to go over was the 3 Gs: the grit, the grace, and the groundedness.
Mhm.
Yeah, you have a lot of concepts that I was impressed with, and opened my eyes to a lot of things.
Yeah,
Can
I
you
think
talk further about that?
Oh, yeah, of course. It's easy to sort of just say to someone, run faster. And all they're going to say is like, I don't know what that means. You can't do that in life. We have to be more specific. It's not as if we don't really sometimes know the answers. It's about building a framework into our lives. And so I have 2 sort of core foundations in the book, beyond the parts that Robert talked about, which is embracing discomfort and suffering and pain, redefining those, which we could talk about. But beyond sort of the foundation pillars of nutrition and exercise, sleep, community, and mindset, there was sort of, I think, a part about the personal being, like sort of the part that we probably can't describe effectively. And I always thought that I was going to build a more complete person by starting off with this idea of grit, which is, be able to persevere over time through difficulty. And I think that is probably not that hard for, say, type A personalities, because, you sort of like push through. Being grounded, having integrity, and having process and systems is critical to life success. start a business, you got to have a P&L. You know, you need your own personal P&L. You know, if you make commitments in integrity, you have to hold true to that if anyone wants to trust you, and trust is built off of that. So grounded was really important. And the part that I think that we sometimes lose track of, and I think that society has, is grace. Like, you know, this system is not perfect. Us. Maybe 10,000 years from now it will be. I don't know. But along the way, we have to accept who we are and why we're here, in that we have to respect both ourselves and each other to create a really much more vibrant community. And so instead of just hammering yourself hard with grit and being grounded, having grace is the balancing force that makes both of those productive and not destructive. Because you could ultimately, and I have a tendency, of course, to do too much. But every once in a while, I'm like, yeah, it's okay, you know? It's okay you fell down on the trail, or it's okay that it didn't work out perfectly, or that, you know, you missed it. And say, you know, this is the life that we have. And so I think if we can learn how to do that, one of my favorite stories, which seems to have been having an impact, is, you know, I'm like, the real success for me is I'm still married after 37 years. I found someone who could tolerate my sort of personality. But I wrote about that when the girls were growing up, Anthea would put on her pink bathrobe when she was in a little bit of a fussy mood, and the girls would know that. And then they would moderate their behavior to how their mom was feeling. And so sometimes we can just sort of say, this is life. It's okay. And if we understand that, we can accept it so much more deeply. So those concepts, which I do define more deeply in the book, are important for us to just hold ourselves accountable to, because then we'll show up better, not just for ourselves, but the rest of our family and community.
Yeah, for sure.
Some
I mean,
good concepts.
it helps people push harder too. I mean, if you think you're going to fail, the grace element, I think, is critical. You got to
Yeah.
cut yourself some slack too.
I think that I love language. I mean, there's 500,000 words in the English dictionary, and, you know, I've gotten sort of good feedback on my vocabulary. Nonetheless, there are words that we have in our language that are really obstacles to living an intentional and a good life. So we teach everyone that failure is bad, you know, that pain should be avoided, that discomfort is a negative feeling, that suffering is something to run away from. What I found is if I lean into all of those, I get to this magical place, because they are the pathway to growth. They are the embracing of how we live and work, what we can do. You know, like, I don't want to, like I wrote about, you know, be in a race in Tucson and have to be rescued by the National Guard because I had hypothermia and was lost in the woods. That's probably not the recommendation, but from it, you know, what I learned through that suffering was meaning, you know, and I could understand better how I should show up in this world. And so I think we need to reframe those words. You know, like I always tell people, like, if I just give you a couple of pieces of advice, I'd say the next time it's pouring rain, walk out of your house into the rain without an umbrella and out a coat, and just embrace the feeling of the rain and getting soaked and saying it's okay. Like, nothing bad is going to happen. Like, start to realize that this is just an experience. There isn't anything to fear. And so the failure, if you're an entrepreneur, you're going to fail. It's okay. It's not going to be the end of your life. And that, you know, I was like in the middle of a race, I would say discomfort never rises to the level of quit. Like, why would you quit? Like, try and intellectually understand. Oh, it just feels bad. Oh, that's the reason? Like, that's sort of silly. Like, really? Then why'd you do it? Like, it's going to hurt. It's an ultra marathon. Like, get over it, kid. And what do? I keep going. And I think that's life, you know? It's
Yeah.
not like I had something in the beginning. I had nothing. I built something, but I never got attached to it. And so you can embrace these concepts that really help.
Yes.
Another impact of the book was reading about you know, the purpose of why. You know, you need to define your why and
Yeah, it's really
reconnecting with what
important.
truly matters. And I think that helped me even before I read your book, because you know, the why is I wanted to improve my health. That's
Mm.
why transition the way I did to a plant-based diet, and I think a lot of people need to discover their why.
Yeah. So well, completely, of course, that's central to the book. But I would actually put this one thought first, which we are not taught. We have to take care of ourselves first, our family second, and our work third. Without that priority, everything falls apart, right? Because you need to actually build the strength and the capability to support any other commitment you ever make. If you thought of like just having work first, what happens is your family falls apart and you fall apart. And so nothing really good came of that. So that's the first part, is make that intellectual leap that that's not selfish at all. That's actually the most generous thing you could ever do, is take care of yourself, because the world needs to rely on you and you have to do that. And so then once you get that situated, the next thing is, if we are to be productive and figure out our role, then defining a why is the sort of the supporting system for everything else you do. Like everyone says, yo, you should have good habits. But if you don't have a why, the good habits go away. Like, if you're not trying to do anything with your health, Richard, then what happens? Then, we just go out and have ice cream and sit on the couch and watch Netflix,
Yep.
because health didn't really matter, even though you know it intellectually, because you don't have a why.
Exactly.
For me, my why really relates to service to others, which, comes derivatively from my parents, who were in servants. They were, worked in child protective agency, or in the New York City schools as a social worker, which my dad was. So I learned we're here to serve others and take care of them. And if I'm to do that, I need to then continue to develop myself so I'm capable. Like, I need to have walked the road. I need to understand the feeling. And so I have a deep why in service, but then my life has to reflect that, so that I could take on that responsibility, because you wouldn't want to if you weren't capable. And so it makes it really easy for me to make my decisions every day, because I know exactly why I'm doing it. Then there's no intellectual hurdle to be able to do what you need to do.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm sorry if I cut you off, Suzanne.
No, it took him about a year. Did it take you about a year and a half to write that book then? I'm sure the experience of it, of course, came over the 50 years, but it took about a year and a half to finish it up. Is that what you said?
Yeah. Suzanne, what happened was I started it, and then I hit this sort of, we'll call it existential problem of like, oh, well, there's two things. AI is going to replace us all, so who cares? We're just going to be pets of the robots one day. And the second was, does anyone really need to hear from me?
Yes.
And right, why do they care? And so one of my good friends of 25 years, I was talking to her, and she said, like, sort of like, just shut up and write the book, will you? Stop. And I was like, oh, okay, you're right. Because we get in our own heads sometimes. And so I had taken a 3-month break, and when I caught up with her, she's like, what are you talking about? Like, why did you stop? I had no good answer, really, truth of the matter, right? And so, even all of us who feel like, oh my gosh, that was so easy, or you succeeded so well, or everything just works in your favor, there are many, which is what the book has a lot of, the obstacles and the challenges, and how you overcome, and how does we develop our mindset. So then it was middle of December, and then I went on a mad tear. I literally woke up every morning early and was writing, and then I just fell in love with the writing, and then I wrote first draft by February, then I wrote second draft by May, and
Wow.
then got it done, because once I got sort of that inspiration I wanted in the hands of people. I always think, I wish I had some of these tools when I was going through this journey, so I had something to help me. And I
Definitely.
feel like if anyone can even just get a little bit of that, the problem, this honestly, that I have sometimes is because I have done a lot, that sometimes people don't connect to it. They're like, well, I could never be you. Well, like, I could never be me either 25 years ago. Like, but like, if you started playing piano today for 25 years, you'd be a good pianist. Like, just make the commitment. And in the beginning, it's like a struggle. It's hard, but like, why not embrace that and love that and fall in love with the entire process of this learning and this experience? And so the push and the pull, it's like, I feel on vacation every day. I feel blessed with gratitude that I found a path outside of this sort of like story that the world told me that I should just make more money and be some robot. Like I want to be sort of one person who experienced more than anyone else. That's what I'm trying to do. We can all compete for that. There's plenty of
I think you're making it tough to compete. That's a lot of stuff on your plate there.
Yeah.
Wow. It is.
but
It's amazing.
there's 168 hours in the week, like architect our weeks, right? Like this is our currency, how we spend our time.
You're right. Those
In
are
my coaching,
priorities.
I'm like,
Yeah.
just write down for 1 week what you did with every hour of every day. And at the end of the week, sit by yourself with a coffee, a tea, a glass of water, and just look at it and say, do I feel good about how I spent my time? And if you really
I
feel
love
good,
that. Yeah.
amen. Great. Love you. Beautiful. Do more. And if you don't, then say, well, how should I spend it? What would I like to be? What would, like, that's what I did. I was working 80 hours a
Really is.
week, and then I started working 60. And then all of a sudden I got 20 hours that I could spend so I could exercise, I could eat better. And by the way, once you start doing all of it, it sort of just cascades into more benefit. And, and it's not just ultra marathoning, right? I mean, like, whoever thought they could write a book? I mean, I know Robert's written 6, but now I wrote 2. I'm like, I think I could write 5 more. Like, where'd
That's
that come from?
awesome.
You
That's
know?
awesome. Yeah, I love it. Both me and Richard have also written books, but we
Yeah.
haven't written second ones yet.
The second
That's my
one
goal,
is
though.
like the breakthrough, because then you're like, oh yeah, it's not just like the first time you do an Ironman, you're like, oh, that was good, I'm done. You concentrate all this effort. But then you have to create the person. Like that's the next part. Like I am now a writer. I
Mm.
know more. I could write. Well, I already wrote the title of the next book and started a couple of the chapters. So
Oh, did you?
Oh my goodness.
the
So
problem,
inspiring, Joe. You're very, very inspiring.
thank you. My dad's 95, so I'm very blessed.
Mm.
He's still alive. So we get to talk a lot about sort of can you make someone understand, like, so what it feels like when you get to this other side? Because like it is a breakthrough and it is incredible, but it's not like you take any drugs. It's life. It's who you are. It's the power you sit on. It's the radical possibility. It's the potential that's there. Every one of us has it. Literally everyone. Like when I graduated college, I was making $7 an hour. Like I love to tell the story. My girlfriend broke up with me. My car was stolen. I had to move back in my parents' basement. I was in debt and I had no career path. Zero. Like I had nothing going for me. I was not a college or a high school athlete. Like I was just invisible to the world.
That
And so
sounds
the
very
question
familiar.
was, right,
Yeah.
but that was the end for so many of us rather than the beginning. It's all about beginnings. It's never an end. It's only the transition to. It's not what we were. It's just, I haven't found a limit. Like only the limit is why we tell our stories. Like this is what's unfair, is that we just keep hearing the same repeat story. Oh, it's about the billionaire. Like none of them are happy, by the way. They're all trying
No,
to
they're miserable.
dedicate themselves.
Miserable.
And I know that everyone says, oh, that's easy to say because like, no, money doesn't solve the problem. I
Doesn't.
coach a lot of very successful people
Yeah.
and I hear the same story over and over again and they feel trapped. Well, just like, here's the key. The people in your life need to embrace who you want to be. Like that's the best thing I have going for me. Is they're supportive. They're not going to try and get in the way. And the minute you get that unlock, then you can do anything. So have an open
Wow.
conversation with people. Just say, this is what I want to be. Do you want to be in my life? And they're like, yeah or no. Just stop being trapped by the stories we tell ourselves and what the world thinks we should be.
Wow. It's very, very good information.
Yeah. One thing I'm wondering is, because everybody gets discouraged once in a while, or you feel like you're burnt out. How do you cope with that yourself and continue to persevere?
Oh my God, because I love that. See, this is where I disagree with almost everyone. I don't know why you should dislike any of your life. Like you should just love all of it. The tough parts, the great parts, whatever you want to like. It's just your life. So yeah, you could be disappointed with yourself because you did something that I don't know, like I fell on the trail running. Like, oh yeah, okay, well, that's okay. Like I just work on, I don't have that kind of mindset of either burnout, there is no such thing, you know, discouragement, no such thing. Because those words are the obstacles. They are part of, look, I seek out, look, when I did this Badwater race, so this is 135 miles through Death Valley. Only 1,000 people have ever done it, less people than climb Mount Everest. You have to get in. I was amazed that they actually picked me to be in. You have to have all these qualifications, write essays. But the minute I got in, I'm like, I am going to truly focus on being prepared. So I sat in saunas over and over again to get used to 195-degree temperature, which of course, is uncomfortable. I ran in turtlenecks and long sleeves in the direct sun,
Oh, that's horrible.
used to the heat. And then I started when I got to Badwater, I was so confident because I had put in the work. And
Yeah.
yeah, I had some hallucinations in the middle of the race and I was lacking sleep and having some nutrition challenges.
Hallucinations.
Yeah, they're great. Like my friend tells me about metacognition because I now know I see them, but they're not happening. So I'm like in these two states. It's pretty amazing. No
That's crazy.
psychedelics required.
Mm.
But through the process, I was just so ready that when it started and it was 115 degrees, I was like, this feels pretty good. Like it was and everyone's like, oh my God, you're going to die. I'm like, I don't think so. This is what we can go create. This is what we're all capable of. Now, you don't get there day one. Like you got to find a few of the struggles and have the discussion with yourself. Okay, so when I started doing push-ups every day, and there's the night when you forgot, and then you want to go to bed and you forgot to do your 100, whatever push-ups, 500. And you're like, oh, I forgot to do them. Like, oh my gosh, I don't have to. No one will notice. I'm like, why would I care if anyone noticed? Like, that is such a dumb excuse. Like, are you committed or not? Like, you just made this agreement with yourself, you dope. So just get down and do the stupid push-ups.
Exactly. I'm the same way.
It doesn't matter if anyone's watching. This is about yourself. Do you like what you see in the mirror? And I'm not talking about like the visual image.
Right.
I'm talking about that person underlying that. And let's work on that. And if you do break your own promise with yourself, ask yourself why. Like there is no other measure we need. Then when you stand up tall to the world, it's really easy because there's no one who can take anything from you. They can try, but there's nothing they can take from you because you're impenetrable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. That was very, very inspiring.
Oh, it is. It's incredible. Your story reminded me of my own because I've done push-up challenges in the past, and that feeling of, oh my God, I forgot to do this. And even my steps, I still get 10,000 steps a day, just something I aim for. And if I forget and it's 11:30 at night, I'm still going to be walking. So I definitely have that drive.
Because Richard, it's about you, right? This is about you building yourself. It isn't about the
Exactly.
world. We don't even have that was part of my struggle was I didn't want to tell people because why? Who cares? I don't need likes on Facebook or Instagram, right? I'm doing this
Right.
because I feel this is the deepest obligation I have, having been born into this world we live in, to show up the best I possibly can. And I think we can just start really small. That's it. Like someone says, oh, what should I do next week? I'm like, well, I'd love you to take an hour a day for yourself, but how about 15 minutes? Just 15 minutes just for yourself. Like, let's start small. Let's build. I guarantee you, people over time will start to see a different you when you start to put that priority there. And then bring childlike curiosity to your life. I did this pull-up challenge, done a lot of pull-ups. I wanted to see how many I could do in 12 hours because I wanted to know what it would feel like. How bad would my hands hurt? Would it be my biceps or my lats? I wanted to experience that because I thought that was, in quotes, an honor to get to do. And so I got to 2,000 pull-ups in 11 hours and 40 minutes, and my hands were ripping apart.
Oh,
And it was like, oh, wow, like this was amazing because I got to experience something that's somewhat magical. It's like if I got to go, I don't know, where do you want to go in the world? Like go to New Zealand. Do you want to go to the Himalaya? Wherever. Like that would be an experience we would all endeavor to want to do or something, whatever. Like
Mhm.
just turn parts of our journey into that same feeling and be curious so that you would go do it because the feeling is the same. It's extraordinary. Serotonin goes up, oxytocin goes up, our cortisol goes down, our norepinephrine runs at the highest level you'd ever imagine, and our heterostasis, which is higher than homeostasis, has been built up so that we're capable of taking on more. This is what's really happening. The neurobiology is just working in my favor every day.
Well, yeah, that's one thing we learned at the plant-based conference. I just got back from the PCRM conference, and he was talking about that curiosity and the excitement cannot exist in the same atmosphere as fear. So you don't, that one kicks the other one out, and it's gone. And once it's gone, let's see what can happen. Let's do it.
We
It's
gotta
really
be,
interesting. That was Dr. Dean Ornish's take on
yeah.
everything, so I thought that was really neat.
Yeah, I'm not a doctor. I just am sort of a good sort of user of the system. If,
Yeah.
if you thought about video games, most people get to level 1 or level 2. My goal is to get to level 10 in life, but you got to do something to get to the
You're
next level.
definitely well on the way, if not
Definitely.
close to, yeah. They're gonna
I
have
don't
to
know
build
what
another
10.
game for you, sir,
I
because
don't know
you're
what.
just about at the top there.
Oh my gosh, it's so much fun. And I think
Hmm.
that the lottery ticket was in your pocket when you were born.
Oh
You
my
have
gosh,
to
that's a
choose to
good way of
cash.
looking at it.
Yeah, like don't go buy another one. You got it already. It's already the winning ticket.
I love that attitude. I
That's
do.
I love that. I love that very much. I think I will adopt that. Well, I already got the winning lottery ticket. I'm just implementing everything on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would never doubt that you reach your goals, Joe,
Yeah.
with whatever you want to try, because I would never bet against you.
And
That's
the cool thing about the Facebook and Instagram thing is maybe not do it for the likes, but do it because you're inspiring other people. Whether they push like or not doesn't matter. They're still watching it.
yeah.
They're watching what you do, and they're, some of them are have a lot of fear around what you're doing, and I'm sure that, they're envious and things like that because that's a thing that you run into when you're doing really well. But you're so high above that, trying to just accomplish what you're doing, and so curious. You're doing what you're doing to make yourself happy, comfortable, and continuing to go that route. Whereas it's it is difficult not to get caught up in that, though, if you pay too close of attention to it.
Yeah, no, I want people to know there's an alternative. I
Hmm.
think that the world has forgotten that we have a social contract, that we're sharing the earth, that we need to share it responsibly and with care.
Hmm.
I think that it isn't about being selfish, right? I think it is about actually sharing in the abundance that we all live inside of.
Yeah.
And that means that there are times where we need an alternative story to sometimes what we hear. And that's what I'm endeavoring to do, to tell a
You're
story,
doing really
that it
well.
starts with a value system and a why, that I respect each and every individual, that I want to celebrate all of you and support every one of you. That's why I
Yeah.
would commit to writing a book and being present and to living the way that I do. That doesn't guarantee any of us anything other than this is a responsibility I feel deeply. And I've internalized that in such a way that there is no other alternative for me. So yeah, I will play into, and that's why I would like to talk to you guys on your podcast and make myself present, not
We
because
appreciate
like I
that.
don't really need it. And this is a good thing, right? I love to have someone say, "Oh, Joe, you look great," or "You this." Like that's fine. I say thank you. But what I think we want to do, back to the priority, is build ourselves so that we create that energy system inside ourselves.
Yeah.
And everything else is actually just additional. It isn't the
Coming
necessary.
from it's an internal thing, and not just the external is just extra.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
which is great. I love it. It's fun.
Absolutely.
I'm working on a documentary to tell the story of choices because
Oh,
we're the
yeah.
choices we
I
make.
like that.
And I know I would not be talking to you two if I had stayed on the path I was on. I'm not even sure I'd still be on the planet, let alone
Oh, yeah.
just so I couldn't be happier. And it wasn't about money. Money is fine.
Yeah,
It's just
it's wonderful. Yeah,
not
a
the
good tool to
central
have.
point. Yeah, that's it. Right? Not the central point of why we're here.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Agreed.
Another thing I was curious about is what made you transition to a plant-based diet? And how many years has it been now?
He said 20, I think, right?
Yeah, it hit it. So I always wish I was like the smartest person in the world. Like I was like so when I was in my 30s, I was eating meat and red meat specifically. Every time I ate it, I didn't feel good. So then it was so stupid. If I cooked it all the way to like burnt, then I could digest it. So I went to this doctor. He's like, you got this enzyme deficiency. We could give it to you so you could help break down this thing. I'm like, why? Like, why do I need something else? I could just stop eating it. And
Yeah.
so I stopped eating red meat. And then, that left all the white meats and that stuff. And so it took probably another 5 to 10 years to move out completely. And it was mostly performance related in the beginning. I
Mhm.
started really pushing hard on the Ironman training program. And I found like a lot of inflammation. And it was this combination of alcohol and meats that I just wasn't digesting well. And the harder I pushed my system, the less good I felt. And every time I ate anything plant-based, it's like, wow, that was easy. Like everything just worked.
Right.
So I had no guidance. As a matter of fact, to be perfectly honest, in the beginning, I had to hide it from everyone because I came from such a meat-eating family. My
Yeah.
mother would still ask
Scare
me,
everybody to death with this thing. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
my mother would still ask me 10 years later, would I like chicken? I'm like, I haven't had chicken in 10 years. I don't even know what you're talking about. Because so it was cultural issue, right? And of course, then like I got 10 reasons now. Then of course I couldn't really stand what we did to animals. Then I couldn't understand why we would ruin the planet the way we do. And then yeah, the more you get into it, then it's like so many reasons.
Yeah.
So but the full journey would have been over 30 years, but the plant commitment was 20 years ago.
Mhm.
And uh then the alcohol thing, that was even easier because like one beer, I lost 10 seconds in a mile on my bike. And I was like, well, what the heck am I benefiting from this stupid
Yeah.
beer?
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
not a
Like
beneficial, but yeah,
alcohol is a poison. So why am I poisoning myself?
it's true.
I am not a whole food plant-based person. I can't, I travel so much, I would be struggling. Uh, that would be even more beautiful, but I do understand that I don't really have ultra processed stuff in my life, but I also have this calorie thing. I gotta make sure I eat enough
Oh
It's
yeah.
true.
Yeah.
because I push so much energy out every day that I gotta make sure that I eat enough. So I eat a lot of peanut butter and jelly. That's my like go-to every day for lunch.
Do you
I
get the peanut butter that has the oil slick on top? Just out of curiosity.
yeah, yeah,
Good job. Good job. That's a good one.
I'll
I mean, as
sort of
long as you're
eat,
doing that, it's all good. Yeah.
but if I can't, I'll just eat any peanut butter.
I
Just
know if it's not available, you have to live.
yeah.
You got to do what you can. But for the most part, if you have a choice, you take the better choice, of course.
And now I'm not afraid of things like avocado or olive oil, like all this, And then I start every day with a 50-gram protein shake every morning. And if anyone wants to like curb their appetite, have 50 grams of protein for breakfast. You won't be hungry for half the day.
I just
Dr.
find if I eat
Bernard
a
says
half a
have
block of tofu, I'm good.
Yes,
yeah,
that's
Dr.
another
Bernard
thing.
says have a lot of protein at breakfast time. Keeps us
Yeah, and then I'm not so hungry.
yeah.
Although, I mean, I run 7 miles a day or 10 miles a day, and I do 100 pull-ups, 500 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, and
Wow.
so I'm doing a lot, and so, but I'm probably undercaloried.
Yeah, I bet. With all you do.
Well, if
Yeah,
you
so
wear one of those bevel watches, like the bevel or the whoop, then you can keep a clear view of everything that's going on. That's what I found really works well. I don't know if you've heard of those or not, but
yeah.
um,
I wore a Whoop for a year and the big watch, and I don't know if the data is good enough, but I know pretty much now, both after 25 years of tracking what I've done every day,
mhm,
sort of what happens and how I feel. It's relatively predictable.
it's
You know?
good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's good.
I know when I'm going to fall apart. I didn't eat enough dinner, and then I go try and run 15 miles the next day.
Yeah, it's not going to work.
Oh, this is hard.
No. Agreed.
But yeah, I think Richard, in this world of like I think too much, the question that I ask myself is if I had to go back to eating meat or drinking alcohol, if I had to do one of the two, which would I do?
Oh.
And to say how committed I am, I would probably have a beer before I would eat meat.
I would agree.
Yeah, me too.
I would
That's
agree.
how committed. So I can't, but it's like a little bit of like, would you kill your mother or your father? You're like, I don't want to do either.
Dad's going. I'm sorry. That's just how it always goes.
So that's my sort of like how committed, and
I
that's
feel the
why
same way. Yeah.
it's that. But
Dad
I don't
agrees.
do either. So I'm good. We're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually have to get back to work soon, but
Yeah, what a pleasure to talk with you, Joe.
Yeah.
You are so inspiring. I can't wait to read the rest of your book and really get into it. And
and
so
before we
thankful
sign
that you
off,
came and talked to us.
and before we sign off, Joe, if you can let our audience know how to connect and
Yeah.
they can find your
Yeah,
book
like
and everything.
the book is pretty easy. Living Intentionally is on Amazon, so you could get it delivered within a day. You can get a Kindle, or you can get the book. I have a website from my old life, which was my life, but called the highperformancelife.net.
Like that.
One word, the highperformancelife.net. That's my same Instagram handle, the High Performance Life. And then I write a blog on Substack at Joe Curious, which sort of
Curious. I like it. Yeah, that's
Every
nice. I
day.
like that.
every day I publish a paragraph that is me sort of just reminding myself of, the beauty of life and all the ideas that should just keep us challenged. So those are the best ways
Check
to
that
find.
out. Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, that's really nice.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, thank you, Richard. Thank you,
It's
Sam.
been
I
fun.
really appreciate meeting both of you, and look forward to hearing about your radical possibilities as well.
Yeah, I can't wait to finish your book.
Absolutely. I feel like I've just had like a therapy session or something. You're amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely.
Thanks for the inspiration.
Thank you.
All right, talk to you later.